everything that we have is it's like we're connected. We're it's like imagine this. It's like an invisible connection.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a computer here. I'm invisibly connected to the computer. There's a monitor. I'm invisibly connected to the monitor. There's a microphone. I'm connected to the microphone. I'm connected to the bed. There's a connection to everything.
Everything.
And to get clarity, you have to cut all the connections, all
Mm-hmm.
of them, all of them. And and because once you and it's biblical because it goes into the it goes back to
Mm-hmm.
the classic story of the rich man who wants to help Christ, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Christ is like sell everything, so,
Mm-hmm.
and the rich man can't because he's connected. He's connected to everything so strongly. He can't let go of it, and you can't hold everything forever, and you can't take everything with you wherever you go. You've got to be able to realize what are the priorities, what are your absolute necessities, which at a basic level is clothes, food, place to
Mm-hmm.
live, and and if
Mm-hmm.
you're traveling somewhere, it's
Basic.
it's passport, credit card, mobile phone, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, if you've got clothes and a few basics, then you have then that's you, right? You have what you need to to do whatever it is that you need to do, and and I believe that the time will come for me again this year to disconnect from everything and almost like go back to the start again. It's almost like going. You never really go back to the start completely, but
Mm-hmm.
it's it's like it, it's a question of what do you really need, you know? What do you really need?
Mm-hmm.
A job, an occupation, friends, or good friends, or good people around about you, place to live. What are the things that a person needs in order to have
Mm-hmm.
a good quality of life? And and there's there's just too much stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much stuff, and I don't. Um, it's it's the idea of you don't need a lot of things to be happy. You need a few basics, right? And then Maslow covered that in his hierarchy of needs in that pyramid, and um, you definitely don't need new things and more stuff. That's not the way. That's not the way. And I think a lot of people are unhappy because they're doing what they're doing what they're told is the right thing to do, but in the modern world, what is right? It's really hard
Just,
to
mm-hmm.
it's really hard to define.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to partly listen to yourself. Like I said today, like I was listening to my own
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, and I was like, "That's not clear. It's not clear. There's noise. It's not. It's I don't have that sharpness of vision that is absolutely necessary. And I'm also a strong believer in I think that dramatic changes done in the right way can be of great benefit. There's a wrong way to do things as well, but I think that in order to move forward, you have to put yourself in new places, in new positions, create new opportunities, and
Certainly.
you can't you can't go forward if you're always tied to the past. You can't let the past dictate everything, because then you won't have a vision and you won't create anything. And there's always a time to. I always tell people that the past is like a rucksack,
Mhm.
yeah, and the rucksack is full of rocks, and every
Mhm.
experience is another rock,
Mhm.
and the bag gets heavier and heavier and heavier.
Have you
Yeah,
heard?
and there's a point in time, not just one point in time, sometimes many points in time for people where
Yeah.
they have to take the bag off and put it down and
Ah.
start again with a new bag,
Mhm.
because you can't carry all these rocks around forever. You're not meant to carry all the rocks around forever, because it's too much. Yeah, it's too much, and that's kind of what that's kind of what Jesus was saying with forgiveness. Yeah, and to die for the sins of people, because a lot of the rocks are problems. Some of them are happy experiences, but
Mm.
you don't think too much about the happy experiences. You think
Mm.
longer about the more
Mm.
complicated ones. And so there's all these rocks, and like Jesus was the character who came along and said, "I will take that for you,
Mhm.
so that you don't have to carry that, and you don't have to worry about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not your problem anymore." And um, and I think it goes deeper than just one person carrying it. I think that there are intergenerational problems like that through families, and I think that if children see their parents carrying the bag, then
Mhm. Mhm.
children think that they have to carry the bag as well.
Mhm.
And um, in my experience, happiness is some kind of disconnect from everything. It's some kind of disconnect from everything. Everything you can, because you can be happy with nothing, right?
Mhm.
And so happiness is not dependent upon the objects of this world.
Mhm.
It's something completely different.
Mhm.
And it's the more the more I go through the Bible, the more I see a lot of my own mistakes and a lot of, but I see it in a positive way, right? I don't see it in a negative way. I see it in a, oh, okay, I learned that then, and now I have to move forward. And um, and I was doing a lot of reading on King David this week,
Mhm.
and King David's a very interesting character for a lot of reasons. Not for the reasons that people tell you about, basically, but King David was the precursor of Christ, right? So if you look at the biblical story, it's almost like God thought that King David would be the savior for everybody.
I understand.
But in that context, King David failed because King David had a perfect belief in God, but he didn't believe in himself.
Mhm.
And because he didn't believe in himself, he made mistakes. And so, although King David's relationship with God was perfect,
Mhm.
his relationship with himself was not perfect. And he never could forgive himself for his mistakes
Mhm. Mhm.
the way that God would forgive him and understand that he's a man, and he never forgave himself for the mistakes, and these mistakes then became the rocks that he would carry in his rucksack, and he carried it
Mhm.
always. He never let it go. And um, you have to learn to forgive yourself.
Mhm.
Truly, it's only like the character of Christ that can do that, but Christ is teaching you to learn to forgive yourself for being human,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, uh, and for not knowing what you should have known, you know, before, right? But you
Mhm.
can't because you don't have the experience to know.
Mhm.
If you don't have the experience to know, then you just don't know. And it's it is very interesting. I never understood the character of King David very well, but it's it truly is an example of not of his love
Mhm.
for God was perfect, but his love for himself was not, and that caused problem. That caused him to make the wrong decisions because he was human, right? Because he was human, and he he was a pretty unique person for that period of time in history, and um, left a legacy. But it's a great example of not being all that you could be because you're always punishing yourself for not being perfect, and that's not. You don't need to. You don't need to punish yourself because life is cruel enough as it is,
Mhm.
right? And if you can stop punishing yourself, then you can stop punishing other people as well.
Mhm.
And because David never forgave himself, he never forgave others. And that call, and if you look at the simplicity of the Lord's Prayer, it's the basic Christian prayer that Jesus taught
Mhm.
his disciples. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us something to eat. And forgive us our debts as we forgive those who have debts against us. You know, it's forgiveness must be both ways. Um, oh my God, how does it go next?
Mhm.
Lead us not into temptation and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. And just understanding that is what most people can't do. They can't do it. They just can't. It's so simple. And that's why Jesus put it into a prayer, and he said to his disciples, just pray this every day. Pray this. Teach yourself this. Ask for food and be thankful for it. Forgive everyone for being themselves. And ask for God's mercy and grace, and with the power of God, that you won't be overtaken by evil and evil thoughts. And people, that's it. Look at almost every single problem in the world comes from not understanding that simple prayer, from not following the instructions, from not following the rules. And people miss it. They say the words, but they don't understand they don't understand what it means.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it's the words are to remind you about how you should act and how you should be,
Mhm.
and 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 as a child, when my school did some Christian activities, and there were prayers, and we prayed, but nobody ever explained it.
Mhm.
You were sort of, it's like, here's the prayer and you pray, but nobody said stop and
Mhm.
think. It's, if you want it to be complicated, it's complicated. If you want it to be simple, it'll be simple. Yeah, and we know what goodness is. We know what good things are. It's we understand that within ourselves, and 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 the there's too many.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, there's too much drama in everything, right?
Mhm.
We want to make a big drama, a big theater out of everything,
Mhm.
and it's the theater is false God. It's the God that's not real. That's the theater.
Mhm.
The theater is the God that is not real. Because that's where the word, theos meant house of God. The word theater really means in the original Greek house of God. Yeah, or the original Latin house of God. But it wasn't the house of the real God. It was the house of the false God. Yeah, and wherever there is theater and drama, there it's distraction. It doesn't need to be like that. The lights, camera, action. That's just entertainment, just fluff. It's not. It's not the important things. People will always tell you that you need to do this or you need to do that, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe,
Mhm.
maybe,
Maybe yes.
yeah, maybe not, right? Maybe not, because you never know what's down the other road. Yeah, you never know where you didn't go. Right? You never know where you didn't go. It's so true. You only know where you
Mhm.
went, right? Yeah. you only know what's happening where you are. You don't know what's happening in other places. So, so those are my thoughts about
Mm-hmm.
about that, and um, I guess that's why I no longer open my emails in the morning and read through them and check them. I do it at night because I see everybody's lives driven by this media,
Mm-hmm.
and that drives their ideas and their thoughts. And I want to be driven by my thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and my ideas. Um, and I want to know what are my thoughts and what are my ideas, because and people don't have a lot of people don't have an opportunity to stop and think, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're running so fast. I said that to somebody this week. Do you know the Do you know the old Warner Brothers cartoon with the coyote and the bird? It's called the Roadrunner. The people are like the Roadrunner, right? There's a meep, meep. Everybody's going so fast. Everybody's going so fast everywhere. It's like, and I just felt that the last couple of weeks, right? I looked around at everybody. Everybody's running really fast. I just find myself saying to people, slow down, just slow down. Where are you going?
Oh.
Slow down, slow down,
Mm-hmm.
slow down. Where, what are you running from? Where are you running to? Because there's wherever you're going, there's a problem there as well, right? There's also a problem there. So, you're not going to escape the problems. You're not going to escape the problems. There's no way to escape the problems. Always be there, right? And there's a problem waiting for you. Tomorrow, there are problems just waiting for you. They have your name on them, and they're waiting for you, right? So it and maybe you want to dive into those problems, but maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to just deal with where you are. Yeah. Realize that you can't solve the past. No one can solve the past. It's done, it's finished. Right? But you can build the future.
Future.
So, and then here's where it gets really crazy. Then, once you realize you can build the future, and the future will become the past,
Oh. Oh. I see.
then you begin to understand that you can change things, but only
Mm-hmm.
if you focus on now, not if you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
fix the unfixable situation. There we go. There we go. That was that. That was don't know what that was about. So my jog down the beach today.